Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Monday, November 26, 2018. Lots to talk about. Where I want to begin, though, is with a headline that came out last Friday afternoon after we'd already done the podcast. And, in this world, we get mocked very often with the news media. I think this is one of the worst mockings I've seen yet to date. So I'm just going to read this article. This was CNN's presentation of what was published in a scientific journal, came out of the Ivy League schools, Yale and Harvard. But the headline is Dimming the Sun, the Answer to Global Warming. That's a question. So CNN wrote, scientists are proposing an ingenious but as yet unproven way to tackle climate change, spraying sun-dimming chemicals into the Earth's atmosphere. The research by scientists at Harvard and Yale universities, published in the journal Environmental Research Letters, proposes using a technique known as stratospheric aerosol injection, which they say could cut the rate of global warming in half. The technique would involve spraying large amounts of sulfate particles into the Earth's lower stratosphere at altitudes as high as 12 miles. The scientists proposed delivering the sulfates with specially designated high-altitude aircraft, balloons, or large Navy-style guns. Despite the technology being undeveloped and with no existing aircraft suitable for adaptation, the researchers say that developing a new purpose-built tanker with a substantial payload capabilities would neither be technologically difficult nor prohibitively expensive. They estimate the total cost of launching a hypothetical system in 15 years' time at around $3.5 billion, with running costs of $2.25 billion a year over a 15-year period. The report does, however, acknowledge that the technique is purely hypothetical. If you're awake, you just know why this is just the ultimate mocking. This is 15 years off, huh? Not that it's been going on for at least 15 years. We make no judgment about the desirability of SAI. That's the aerosol injections. The report states, we simply show that a hypothetical deployment program commencing 15 years hence, while both highly uncertain and ambitious, would indeed be technically possible from an engineering perspective. It would also be remarkably inexpensive. And just to interrupt the article, I mean, that's what I've been saying. At the rate that they're doing this across the world, they must be able to do it very efficiently. The researchers also acknowledge potential risks. Coordination between multiple countries in both hemispheres would be required, and stratospheric aerosol injection techniques could jeopardize crop yields, lead to droughts, or cause extreme weather. My mom's noticed in the last 4 or 5 years, where it seems to have become a lot more prevalent, this spraying of the skies, her garden in her backyard has done a lot worse in that period of time. She used to have a great tomato yield. She hasn't had it for years now. The proposals also don't address the issue of rising greenhouse gas emissions, which are a leading cause of global warming. So, somebody's trying to call in right now. That could also just be some telemarketing. But if you are trying to call in, save those for the end of the presentation. I just wanted to open with this in case you didn't see it. Couldn't help also but notice the gematria of stratospheric aerosol injection. It has the same gematria as Freemasonry. What do you know? Who controls the military? Who controls the government? So anyway, important article to let it be known that it's out there. For anyone who thinks that it's so ridiculous to spray chemicals in the sky, you could also show them that article and say, look at what was released in our own media, saying that they could do this, So, for anyone who thinks it's so absurd, they shouldn't anymore. Today, Monday, November 26th, big NASA accomplishment. What's today? It's the day leaving 35 days left in the year. And what's NASA equal? It equals 35. Talk about this in a big way in my book. NASA doing everything by the numbers. The first chapter of my book introduces the relationship between 26, 101, and 206. Look at this. Look at this emphasized headline. 7 minutes of terror, 101. 101 is the 26th prime. We got big space news. Space 26. The spacecraft that landed on Mars is the InSight spacecraft 101. And from the day the mission began, May 5th, to today is a span of 206 days. How about that? The other thing about May 5th is it's 5-5. Today has 55 numerology. 11 plus 26 plus 18, 55. Remember, numerology equals 55. So does Fibonacci. 55, a very special number. It's the 10th triangular number. It's the 10th Fibonacci number. So, this is why the book is so important. Everything that I wrote about in this book continues to play out day by day by the exact same patterns that I explained in the book. NASA always doing things around the number 35. No accident. This big NASA accomplishment comes on the day leaving 35 days left in the year. Notice it's also the 330th, not unlike 33, very special number to Masonry, which controls NASA. So, to me, this also shows that it's the numerology that's even more important than the astrology. I do think that they go together, but Tuesday is the day named after Mars. You would think a Mars landing, if it was all about astrology, they would have had it done tomorrow. But the numbers, they're the things that always have to be perfect. So, learn this code, see through the riddles. And for all the big NASA people out there, you should ask, why does NASA do everything ritualistically by a code, but they don't share this with anybody else? It's just a little secret of theirs. The other thing I personally want to know is where they get these rooms of people they show on TV, the control room, the mission room. They're always all dressed in the same outfit. They show them doing the big cheer, the big excitement, giving each other hugs, high fives. I want to know what's really going on in that room. I want to know. Other headline today, top story this morning, General Motors shutting down their plants across North America, Canada, U.S., mostly Michigan and Ohio in the U.S., and also Mexico. And they said the reason why is because they're changing their direction. They're now going to gear themselves towards electric cars and automated cars. I had a guy who worked for Toyota tell me this morning that all Toyotas by 2020, so that should be next year's release, about a year from now, all Toyotas will be self-driving. So we'll see if it happens that soon. And he made it sound like it'll have the option to be self-driving. You can still drive it yourself, but by next year, about this time, Toyota should be releasing an entire fleet of cars that have the option to self-drive. So it is coming. But again, today leaves 35 days left in the year. They're shutting down the plants. Plants got the Gematria 35. Vehicles got the Gematria 35. They're focusing on electric vehicles. And today has 75 numerology. Electric also has Gematria 75. We see how these big corporations operate by the numbers. Also in the headlines today, Oprah's mother dead at 83. She died Thanksgiving, but the news broke today, the day leaving 35 days left in the year, not by accident. We talked about this earlier this year with the Cleveland Browns head coach. His mother dropped dead by the numbers at age 83. Cleveland Browns equals 83, football 83, mother 83, murder 83. The mother's name was Vernita Lee, having Gematria of 60 like Thanksgiving. Also, a number coded in an ugly way on black folks often. We saw the death of Craig Mack earlier this year by the numbers. His rap name equaled 60, died a span of 60 days from his birthday. We've seen this before. But with regards to it being the day leaving 35 days left in the year, and we're hearing about this news today, despite the death being 4 days ago, not an accident. Vernita, the name of her mother, 35. Winfrey, the surname of Oprah, 35. And don't forget that Oprah and Oprah Winfrey both have Gematria 58, like Freemasonry, like secret society. We've talked about Oprah by the numbers many a times before. Now it's her mother's death. And notice Vernita was also born in the year 35. So I couldn't find her birthday, so couldn't do the full research, but I see why the news comes on the day leaving 35 days left in the year. And I see why she went on Thanksgiving. Another breaking headline just before we started this podcast: nooses found at the Mississippi Capitol. And this headline ties in with the runoff election that's happening tomorrow, where they've been trying to paint the candidate Cindy Hyde-Smith as a racist. Here's why this came today. Notice they used the plural. You know, we've seen this before. Normally it's a noose was found, but today they had to go with the plural. Nooses were found. And again, here's why. Nooses, gematria of 75, like today's date has 75 numerology. And what are nooses used for? To lynch people. Today's the 26th. The word lynch equals 26. Last week we talked about why Loretta Lynch got subpoenaed for the date she did. If I'm not mistaken, it was December 5th. It is. It's December 5th, the day leaving 26 days left in the year, that Loretta Lynch is meeting with the body she was subpoenaed by. All part of a sick joke. Just like it was a sick joke from the beginning to have Obama, his attorney general, become Loretta Lynch. You know, think about old school justice, racist white America, lynching of black Americans, sick joke in your face. And I've been talking about that for years. Now people can have no mistake about it, seeing Loretta Lynch being subpoenaed to talk to the government body she's supposed to on the day leaving 26 days left in the year, December 5th. And that was covered last week. If you missed the video I did on the funeral this weekend for Kim Porter, the media showed this image of Puff Daddy in front of Kim Porter's mother's grave and did some research on her death. First of all, they had the funeral of Kim Porter on this date was 73 numerology. Sacrifice 73 and 46. Remember, she died on the day leaving 46 days left in the year. We said why there'd be celebrity deaths on that date. Her mother, Sarah Lee Porter, died at age 67, April 24th, 2014. And she was born March 8th. She was born in the year 47. Dead at age 67, the blood sacrifice number. Her name's Sarah Porter, 67. The day she died was a date with 62 numerology, the other number connecting to sacrifice that we see so often. And when she died, it was 47 days after her own birthday. Plus, her name was Sarah, 47. And again, it was reported that her daughter, Kim Porter, died at age 47, despite all the evidence on the internet suggesting she was 46 years old. So, goes to show just how repetitive the patterns are. It's just like when we talked about Aretha Franklin, how her mother and her father, they all died by the same repetitive set of numbers. And another thing that people asked me to look into was her son, Christian. The name Christian equals 47. He just came out with a rap album this year, his debut album on April 11th. Consider that the father, Puff Daddy, his birthday is November 4th. Both dates can be written 11/4, like 114. The mother of Kim Porter died on the 114th day of the year, April 24th. That's the 114th day. So that looks very pattern oriented. And I wouldn't be surprised if the mother of Kim Porter was also sacrificed for this same man right here. One of the richest men in hip hop music. And couldn't help but notice the name of his son's album, 90s Baby equals 49, like Bad Boy, like how old Puff Daddy is at the time of its release. Couldn't help but notice it came out 158 days after Puff Daddy's birthday, Freemasonry number. And what else is creepy is from the date this album came out of his son, 90s Baby, to the death of Kim Porter, that was 218 days later. Another number connected to death with the English extended cipher. It's also 7 months and 4 days. Masonic 74, Killing 74, Gematria 74, Rapper 74. All a little bit too perfect. I'm going to do another longer video on this and discussion. I keep getting so many comments on the videos I'm doing that people who believe in Illuminati are idiots and disrespectful. And I just really want one of these people to call in. So I'm going to try to have another discussion about, is it, disrespectful to expose these ritual murders? Is it silly to expose the existence of Illuminati? Because so many people have these beliefs, but I'd like to get one of these people to call in. So planning to do that video possibly later today or at some point this week. Also, another death in the news. Ricky Jay, magician, worked with Hollywood, been in movies, been in TV. His birth name's not Ricky Jay, but you can see why the entertainment industry, which uses this code of letters and numbers, had him go by this name as a magic man. Magic 102, Ricky Jay 102. He was born Richard J. Potash. He died 38 days short of his birthday. What do you know? Death, murder, killing, RIP, all 38. He's from Brooklyn, New York, one of the most Jewish neighborhoods in all of America. So there's a few other things about his name. Again, he died on this date with the 73 numerology connecting to sacrifice and ritual sacrifice. Notice his name had the fateful Gematria 68. See that a lot around death. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long. 76 like blood sacrifice. Ricky also has the Gematria 33 like magic, just using the alphabetic order. It's 102 when you flip the alphabetic order around. So Ricky J, great name for magic. Another death in the headlines today. Hollywood director Bernardo Bertolucci, dead at 77. Bernardo 77, theater 77. You take his two-part name, Bernardo Bertolucci, the gematria of 112 pops in a big way because theater also sums to 112. Remember, 77, 112. There's 3 words that I always put together that have those same 2 values. Theater, Zionist, Judaism. And they all go together. That's why Hollywood has to give you a Zionist flick to remind you about the Holocaust once a year at least. Another death in the headlines, 47-year-old music executive who helped bring Katy Perry to fame. Her name was Angelica, 47. Supposedly she lost a year-long battle with cancer. They called her Jelly. That was her nickname in the industry. Her nickname 21. She died November 21st. She worked 25 years in the music business. Death has the gematria of 97 and 25. 97 is the 25th prime number. They go hand in hand. And in light of her relationship with Katy Perry, who she helped bring to fame, did you know that Katy Perry's breakout album was called One of the Boys? I did not know that. But that just makes me wonder. I've always thought Katy Perry looks a little interesting. Anyhow, from Katy Perry's birthday to November 21st, 27 days, the ritual number. And like I always say, you don't have to be 27 years old to become part of the 27 club. There's a lot of people whose deaths connect to the number 27 that aren't the age. And notice Katy Perry's 34 years old. The word murder has that gematria 34. Katy Perry's also got that gematria like Freemasonry. Katy Perry and Angelica, they met at Columbia Records, which has the gematria of 158 like Freemasonry. And the woman who died, her surname, Cobb Baylor, has the gematria of 44 like Cancer like Kill, what's said to have taken her life. So cancer does take a lot of people's lives, but in this entertainment industry, you just got to wonder. If you're an executive in the music industry, you have a lot of money, and that should open you up to a lot of modern day treatments that save a lot of lives from people who have cancer. Most people who get cancer who have money are able to beat it because of the treatments that are available at this day and age. So every time I see these celebrities dying from cancer, especially at younger ages, it is quite curious. Death that didn't get as much attention. NHL hockey referee at 62 died in recent days. His name was McGew, gematria 43. He had a stroke on the day leaving 43 days left in the year, November 18th, the 322nd day of the year. So what a day to have a stroke for McGew. And then he died on the day leaving 38 days left in the year. Strokes also 38, like death. Going at age 62, that's the sacrifice number. So, coincidence? I don't think so. Another death on the day leaving 38 days left in the year was Sean O'Hara, man who runs for office each election cycle. Couldn't help but notice he died 322 days after his birthday. Also 46 weeks. Another sacrifice number. And, Hattiesburg. I remember when I was newer to this work, the first time I really got bombed by trolls, I'd never seen anything like it in any of my videos. There was a shooting in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And it was police officer related. And I covered the shooting and I showed how all the numbers lined up for the regular shooting rituals and talked about Hattiesburg and Mississippi and Freemasonry. And I wish the old channel wasn't deleted because this video was still, even to the day the channel was deleted, you could always go back and look at this video and see the evidence of the way the YouTube view counter worked and all that. The video had hardly any views, but if you looked at the comments, it had like 3 times as many comments as views, which is impossible. And if you go look at the town of Hattiesburg, it's a small place. It's a tiny town. There were just hundreds and hundreds of comments of people saying they witnessed the shooting. They knew the victims. They knew the shooter. And I was just like, look at this. I mean, the video has no views. It's got over 1,000 comments. It's got as many comments as people live in the town. Supposedly all these people saw the shooting and I'm an idiot. This doesn't make any sense. And anyway, that was in Hattiesburg, where this man died. So I know they do things by the numbers in Hattiesburg, and I know they don't like it being exposed there. This man also died on a date with numerology of 45, and his name equals 45. So, for one more death of people who passed on this day, leaving 38 days left in the year, the death number, we have the death of a 45-year-old football player. And don't forget, football's 83, the reflection of 38. This man who died, he had fateful name Gematria, 193, the 44th prime, kill 44, 67, blood sacrifice. Dead at 45, on a date with 45 numerology. Think about football in terms of the shape, geometry, how we talk about the regular tributes to geometry and words and symbolism in these sports leagues. Also, wanted to go back and look at the headlines of the deployment of troops to the border by Trump in light of the caravan headlines. This news first broke October 30th, 2018, which was a date with 58 numerology. Of course, Donald Trump, the winner of the 58th US presidential election, all of the 58 rituals with Trump. And every time I say that, there's always somebody who leaves in the comments, Trump didn't win the 58th presidential election, he won the 45th. And I always just laugh. I'm just like, can these people think before they type? It's like the election, not the number. It's like these same people, if they would just think for a second, they'd go, wait a minute, was Obama number 44 and number 45? Oh, no, he wasn't. Wait a minute, was George W. Bush, was he number 43? Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. You think they would just think like a little bit and realize like some presidents have more than one term. That's why it's not the same election count as overall president. But I don't know. I blame it on the food, the chemicals in the sky. With regards to that 58 number, what's interesting is the most recent headlines say that there are 5,800 troops at the border now. 5,800. And it reminds that in the summer of 2015, when Jade Helm was taking place, everybody was freaking out about Jade Helm. I said, oh no, you guys are freaking out. This is just another Masonic ritual by the numbers, just, doing their drills for their future false flags. Nothing really out of the ordinary. But Jade Helm had that gematria of 58 and 158 like Freemasonry. And there was a big emphasis on the border. Same spot that this is going on now with the troops being deployed. This is where they are. So I don't think that's any accident. I think this is what this prep work was for their future planned out events that we're living out. Which one of these is now this border crisis? This whole thing is so contrived. So somebody pointed out to me that over the weekend, yesterday, they shut down the border crossing at San Ysidro, and San Ysidro is actually named after a Honduran. And this migrant caravan began in Honduras. So I thought, oh, how perfect. San Ysidro is named after a Honduran. I did not know that. But doesn't that make all the sense? And from October 13th to today is 44 days later. I'm wondering if at some point today we're going to see some big border story again. Yesterday, November 25th, was a span of 44 days. Remember, that's a big number with the military. Military's 44. Yesterday, there was the reports of the tear gas being thrown by the border security at the migrants. So yesterday was a span of 44 days. Today's 44 days later. Today's been pretty quiet so far. With regards to yesterday being the span of 44 days and the tear gas being thrown at the migrants, Honduras also has the gematria of 44 like military. The reason I'm surprised about, the headlines being relatively quiet so far today, it is still early in the day, there's a lot of day left, is because today leaves 35 days left in the year, and the word border equals 35. Of course, they're talking about this in the news today, but there hasn't been a big event at the border today. It seemed that it was more about yesterday. Yesterday left 36 days left in the year. For the record, borders, the plural, is 36. But remember, from the chaos at the Guatemala-Mexico border, which was announced in the media across the board on October 19th, to the migrant caravan showing up at the U.S.-Mexico border was 35 days. From border to border, 35 days, border 35. And should there be an event at the border today, remember, today has the 75 numerology as well, the number that we often see in the order out of chaos rituals. Today also has the 26, because it's the 26th, and chaos is 26. So I am interested to see what happens from now until the rest of the day. For just one more point, San Ysidro is named after this farmer from Honduras, San Ysidro. And notice just the overlap with Berlin Wall and San Ysidro. Remember, Donald Trump announces the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. That was in 2016. 2016 is the 63rd triangular number. So interesting to me. Yesterday, another big story, international news. Russia attacked Ukrainian naval vessels, fired on them, and seized 3 of their vessels. They're saying this could have been perceived as an act of war. Ukraine today voted to declare martial law, which will start Wednesday, the day leaving 33 days left in the year. That's interesting. But the date that this happened, Russia attacking Ukraine, date with 47 numerology. That number means foundation, right? This could grow into something a lot bigger. And think about how many wars start at sea where the common person has no evidence of really what's going on. You know, we know that Vietnam was based on a lie in the Gulf of Tonkin incident. But 47 is the foundation number. This happened on a date with 47 numerology. Ukraine also has that Gematria 47. Russia, along with the rest of the New World Order, does things by the numbers. Going to have a reminder about Russia and the United States of America, the nation with the 4-7 birthday, in just a moment here. I learned something last night that I wasn't aware of before doing some research. Should have found this out a long time ago. I know about the overlaps with the Jesuits and Masonry and who really controls both, the false ones. But what I learned last night is the 32nd degree of Scottish Rite Freemasonry, their motto is the same as the Jesuit motto. And somehow I had never known this before. And when I saw that, I said, wow, that just makes so much sense to me. Remember, where Washington, D.C. is, the city named after the Scottish Rite Freemason, which has the headquarters for the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, it once used to be the Catholic colony controlled by the Jesuits. That's why, again, it's between Virginia and Maryland, like Virgin Mary. So that motto, which goes with the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite and the Jesuits, is right here on the screen. And it has the gematria of 115 like Masonic. It means for the greater glory of God, which equals 351, which is the 26th triangular number where God equals 26. When you add 1 through 26 together, it equals 351. And again, Masonry, Jesuit, they're both 84. United States of America is 84. America is 32. So is Scottish, and the United States of America's establishment date has a date numerology of 32. So doesn't this make so much sense that the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite has the same motto as the Jesuits? I think that really brings these parallels together, which just makes so much sense when you're aware of things. I mean, again, Washington, D.C. Let's not forget that the current Pope, Pope Francis, the first publicly Jesuit Pope, his birthday is December 17th, 1936, a date with 84 numerology. If you've read my book, you know that the founder of the Jesuits, St. Ignatius of Loyola, he died 84 days after his birthday, or from his birthday. So these numbers have been very important to these institutions for a very long period of time. And then understanding the overlap with 32 It just makes this clear as day. So, wanted to share that with you. I think this is another great example to wake up people to this code. And speaking of this 115 thing right here, take JFK for example, the only Catholic president killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a Scottish Rite Freemason. He was killed on a date with 115 numerology, 11 plus 22 plus 19 plus 63, Masonry, Catholics, Jesuits. Again, JFK, the only Catholic president. Catholic equals 35. He was number 35. He was elected on a date with 35 numerology. He ran against Nixon on the date of the election. It was Nixon's 305th day of his age. What are the odds? JFK dead at 46. Catholic also sums to 46 in Gematria, like the 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. So very glad I found this last night. I'm planning on getting these edits finished in my book and touching it up with a few more notes, things that I've learned along the way that can add even more meaning. And I want to get this tucked into the next edition of the book I put out. Also, if you're listening to this podcast, if you become an $11 a month member on Patreon, when I do release the updated book, you'll get that for free. And along with everything else that I release, every other book that I write, every other article that I write, that'll be in published format, you'll get all that stuff for free at the $11 tier. And once football season's over, I hate saying that because it's embarrassing to admit, but once football season's over, I'll have a lot more free time. I spend so much time analyzing the football and decoding because there's a lot of people who are interested in that. It eats up a lot of time that I could be getting other things done. So once football season's over, there'll be a whole lot more production in terms of written material, next book, articles, etc. Also, with regards to the Jesuits, it's said that St. Ignatius of Loyola, he said, "Go forth and set the world on fire." And some people dispute this. They say it's not a real quote. It's made up. But I'll tell you why this quote seems to have a lot of rhyme and reason. Go forth and set the world on fire has gematria of 144, just like Jesuit order. And don't forget when Donald Trump met with the Pope at the Vatican, that was May 24th, the 144th day of the year, and not by accident. Do you remember that photo of Trump and Melania and Ivanka, and they looked like they were dressed for a funeral? Everybody looked depressed except for Trump, who had this wicked grin on his face. Let me see if I can just pull up that photo in case you've never seen this before. Trump, Pope, Melania, Ivanka. There it is. This is the one. I mean, isn't that just the strangest photo right there? So there it was, the 144th day of the year, with the first publicly Jesuit Pope. Get back to where I wanted to be here. Also, a lot of people who come to my channel, they'll say, "Zach, it's not the false ones, it's the Catholic Church, it's the Jesuits." And for all of the people who say that, they don't know the riddle of what came first, the chicken or the egg. Because if they did know that riddle, they wouldn't be saying what they're saying. Saint Ignatius of Loyola was Jewish. He was one of the false ones. He was no doubt an Ashkenazi. The entire Jesuits are run by the false ones. And I would say the entire Catholic Church is too. Jews have been around way longer than the Catholic Church has. It's their institution. So, again, just a little gematria reminder lesson. All roads do lead to Rome, and who was running the show in Rome when it fell apart? That's not a secret either if you know your history. With regards to Ashkenazi Jews, I just want you to take a look at where they are in the world. Overwhelmingly, they're in the United States. Then they're in Israel. Then where are they? Russia. The two nations that do everything by the same numbers that have so many parallels against each other. Again, this code of letters and numbers comes from Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, which goes back to Babylon, the oldest home of the Jews. So many of you guys, you'll criticize my work and you'll say, that goes back to Babylon. I'm like, yeah, when I talk about that, you should read my book. It's like on page 1. But what goes back to Babylon? That's where the Jews go back to, you see. You got to have all the pieces of the puzzle when you speak. So anyway, Ashkenazi Jews, as a reminder, sums to 74, like Jewish, as in not really a Jew-ish. 74, 74, all roads lead to Rome, Romans 74. Ashkenazi Jews, also 119, like Star of David, like Orthodox. And with regards to them being pretty much centralized here in the U.S., let's not forget about 74 in this nation. English 74, Gematria 74, Masonic 74, Holiday 74, Independence Day 74. And I'll say it again, if you think this is a coincidence, you're fooling yourself. 4th of July, 74. Who really got free? Nobody. Free 74. One more time. What happened on the 4th of July just 2 years ago? Don't ever forget this right here. Don't ever forget this from 2 years ago on the 4th of July. The Juno probe on Jupiter. The thing about July 4th, 2016 was a date with 47 numerology. And what word did they spell there? Goy. What's Goy with the alphabetic order? 7 plus 15 plus 25? These things aren't a coincidence. Not in the least. And for all of you who watch and say, I don't understand how they can pull off all these rituals, how many of these people are here in the United States? That's a lot of people. That's a massive network. That's a lot more than 1%, the number they love to repeat. 1%. There's only 1%. We're only 1%. No, you're not. You're like 100% when it comes to the media. You're like 100% when it comes to the things that have influence over people's lives. So another little riddle in the media. Mike Ditka had a mild heart attack. They're not saying what day this happened, but the news broke November 24th. Notice how the emphasis is on mild. Look at mild and Mike as an Iron Mike Ditka. Perfect overlap in all 4, right? And from his birthday to the date of this news was 37 days later, or on his 38th day of his age. He's remembered for coaching at Chicago. He also coached the Saints. Chicago, 37 days after his birthday, Chicago 37. Date with 35 numerology, Chicago 35 to the upcoming Super Bowl. 71 days, Chicago Bears 71. These rituals again and again, synced up with the birthdays, synced up with the dates that matter, like the Super Bowl in regards to a football season. And on July 4th of this year, we talked about the story of Tom Brady seeing a bear in the Montana woods. From that story to the Ditka story is 143 days later. Chicago's also 143. 3 of the 4 base values of Chicago. The other one is 46. Tom Brady also equals 46. Headline yesterday from Sunday's football action. Reuben Foster, the name Foster equals 83 like football. He got kicked off the 49ers for domestic violence. We've seen this pattern before. Football players busted for domestic violence on dates with 74 numerology. News by the numbers, shaming of black men, reinforcement of ongoing propaganda narratives, conditioning people to believe that black males are dangerous, physically violent, again and again. And the 49ers seem to be a team that has more of these problems than any other if you go back and look over the years. They've had a number of players that happened to this now. This same thing happened to their players now. And don't forget, 49, special number. NFL equals 49, America 49, Super Bowl 49. Part of the reason the 49ers hosted the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl. This was a cute story, too. On the 25th, Phillip Rivers sets an NFL record, beginning the game 25 for 25, 25 straight completions on the 25th. Then Phillip Rivers talks about how it was a dream come true. You know. Keep in mind, this was the day leaving 36 days left in the year. Record equals 36 in the 2 reduction-based ciphers. Perfect day for a record. Did it over the Cardinals, 36. Cardinals also has Gematria 63-like record. Record also has Gematria of 99, like this being the 99th NFL season. Drew Brees set the first passing record this season on the day leaving 99 days left in the year. Tom Brady also got in on the action yesterday. Over the Jets, his whole NFL career began with the Jets injuring Drew Bledsoe after 9/11, the Patriot Act, New York Jets crashing into New York towers. So, of course, Brady had to get this big passing record against the Jets. Comical stuff. But New England's also 99, like Patriot. Get on the day leaving 36 days left in the year. They couldn't have scripted it any better. They really couldn't have. Also, Baker Mayfield, the number 1 draft pick. Remember last year how we said he'd be the Heisman winner? Baker Mayfield equals 239. The Heisman Award was 239 days after his birthday. 239, the 52nd prime. It was around the time of Super Bowl 52, where those were big numbers on last year's season. We said why Baker Mayfield was a shoo-in for the Heisman. He got it. Anyway, now he's with the Browns. He improved his QB record to 3-5. Browns 35, QB 35. Special numbers right there. Not an accident that the first Super Bowl was won with 35 points. Again, in the septenarian Chaldean ciphers, football and Super Bowl equal 35. By the way, yesterday's game was the Battle of Ohio. Ohio has Gematria 47 and 29. Yesterday's date, 47 numerology. Both Ohio teams playing. The Browns got their 29th win against the Bengals. And the Browns now have 17 losses against the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken, just like how Ohio's the 17th state. So we talked about that in the football decode this weekend, how it would be perfect Ohio numbers with the Browns win. Juju Schuster for the Steelers. We got this game right. Said why the Broncos would beat the Steelers. It was in the numbers. Got most of the games right that we made a call on yesterday. 7-1 on games that we liked for calls. But Juju Schuster, 97-yard touchdown on the 25th. 97 is the 25th prime. Remember what happened the year of the 97th NFL season? They moved the touchback to 25 yards. The Super Bowl was on 2/5. Falcons lost. Falcons equals 25. They lost after a 25-point comeback to make Tom Brady 5-2 in Super Bowls. We saw all that before it happened. Knowing the code. Bill Belichick equals 97. And for one last thing, this day in history, something that jumped out at me in a huge way was this right here. 1950 on this day in history, the 26th, leaving 35 days left in the year, China entered the Korean War. And if you've read my book, I show how all of the major wars in recent history have been done by the code. On the day leaving 35 days left in the year, the 26th, China enters the war. Not an accident. That entire war is by the numbers. It didn't start on George Orwell's birthday by accident either. George Orwell, who wrote the book 1984 about the nation, Oceania, that's always at war. The people know their nation's always at war, but they don't know why. So what I'm going to do here is if anybody wants to call in, I've reached the end of the presentation point. I'm going to fire up the phone line here. I'm going to use the speaker this week. We learned last week things sound much better with the speaker. The number to call in is 509-731-0567. 509-731-0567. You are welcome to call in now. Just as a reminder, while we're waiting for calls, tomorrow's Gematria School, it is the episode that is open to all Patreon members the last Tuesday of every month. Even if you're at the $1 tier, you can get in on the call. Let's go to the caller here in Tucson. Hello. Hey, friend, you're on.
There's that?
Yeah, we're here.
Hey, I was just thinking of your beginning of the podcast. You were talking about the aerosol spray.
Right.
Who was it that was it Henry Kissinger was the one that said you control nations by controlling oil, you control people by controlling food. Right?
Sure.
That was good old Henry Kissinger that said that.
That's right.
Wasn't Henry Kissinger? He's the same one too that, you know, when Obama was running, or he was the politician in Chicago, nobody even knew who he was, right? Even when he was in Chicago.
Right.
But Henry Kissinger knew who he was back in his college days. They were having meetings together.
That's right.
So yeah, it's obvious. It's obvious who runs and controls this world, you know, and they always have. So I just thought that was worth noting.
Great note.
Henry Kissinger.
I appreciate that observation.
Hey, I like that what you found with the Jesuits, the motto thing that they lined up.
Yeah, that was an important find, and I couldn't believe I hadn't noticed that before.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. That's just more proof of what we really live in, people.
Yeah.
Anybody out there listening, you got to get the book, man. It's all there. You want the book? Well, you can get it now. Don't wait.
I appreciate it.
All right, brother. You have a good day.
All right, you take care, man. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah.
All right, see you.
Bye.
All right, somebody was just trying to call in. I can only take one call at a time, so feel free to call back. It's open now. All right, we got another call coming through here. Let me get you connected to the speaker. All right, you're connected, caller.
Hello?
Yes.
Man, Zach, it's great to talk to you. It's Ed, med.desa. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for calling in, Ed.
No problem.
We got another call coming through here.
Oh,
to get you connected.
Ed,
Speaker.
mute that video in the background.
Hello?
Yeah, you got to mute your video in the background.
It's great to... All right, let me turn it off there. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, great. Just since you decode more about the Oprah Winfrey's death, the Bears connection to the upcoming Super Bowl.
I'm listening.
You can check our Patreon. I did the math, and it's 73 days to the Super Bowl. Oprah has that connection to Chicago. My dick is heart attack. The only other thing that I see is the Saints out of the NFC. and Dicka has that connection with the Saints as well. And going back to the 1812 connection that you had at the beginning of the season with the Saints winning
Right.
in the opener. So the only other thing I wanted to mention, and I didn't see it in your book or anything with the 9/11, you have to research the Black Eagle Trust Funds. The numbers aren't that great, but I was in the Army in psychological operations back around that time, and I had a lot of inside knowledge. I worked at DOD and whatnot, so I got a lot of clearance, let's say. The Bureau of Transstat also modified their documents with all of the planes at that time. All of them were shown as diverted to Canada. However, they went in and scrubbed those documents, and then they now have them as those flights crashed, whereas they were still in operation. Up to 3, 4, 5 years after the terror attacks. American Airlines and United Airlines didn't claim any insurance until up till 2005. And I used to work for United Airlines as well, out of DIA, Denver International, so I know about those planes. I could see their tail numbers, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. You're supposed to be a pile of garbage right now. So, but the Black Eagle Trust Fund, that was the main driver behind 9/11. You have to go back to Paul Wolfowitz, Cheney, Bush, PNAC agreement.
Right.
Something with the Japanese gold, Douglas MacArthur. And basically, real simple, just to tie it all up, that was just September 11th, 1991, George Bush made his 1,000 Points of Light speech before Congress. And on that day, they issued the bonds in the Bush's name to clear all of that gold. And that was stored under the World Trade Center and different bank accounts and everything. Now, that tipped off the SEC because 10 years to the day, that money was supposed to clear, and we're talking trillions in value at that time. They had the gold supposed to be cleared through the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission. Well, that was in Building 7. And also the Office of Naval Intelligence and the Pentagon was also tracking all of that. And then if you look at September 12th, George Bush signed an executive order clearing all of those funds to be released without any names or signatures being attached. So it was all one big money-making scheme. And but don't get caught up with the flights and everything, because there were no planes, so it was just all bait and switch. But I'll leave it at that.
There's some questions from the chat for you. One of them is, are you familiar with the website Deagle.com?
Eagle.com.
It's spelled D as in Delta, Eagle, Deagle.
No, I'm not. Let me pull it up real fast. I can't see the chat because I'm using Google.
Are you still there, caller? Oh, shoot. He might have disconnected trying to get on his phone. I think he disconnected. Well, I wanted to ask him about Deagle and if he'd visited the underground of the DIA. Caller, if you can still hear me, you're welcome to call back in. I also wanted to make sure that he said that I needed to look into the Black Eagle Agreement. I think that's what he said it was called. I'm aware of the Project for a New American Century and the names he said. I do talk about them in the book, but this Black Eagle Agreement, if I got the name right, that is news to me, so I'll have to do some research there. And thanks for being here, Christos. Good luck on the move, man. Tough time of year to move. Wintertime? I've done that twice in my life. All right, well, the call line is open because the caller dropped. Hopefully he'll call back, but anybody else is welcome to call in, 509-731-0567. Welcome, Christos. Oh, here we go. I think we got the same caller back. Hello?
Hey, man. Hey, Zach. Yeah, I'm back.
Were you able to check out that website? See, somebody wants to know if that's a legitimate military website or if it's a fraud.
Let me pull it back up. Here. I gotta run Flash to see it. Let me see. Web Solutions. Deagle, sales@deagle.com. That's all I get. It's DEAGLE.com.
I believe that's it. I know what website the person in the chat's referring to, but I don't actually have it pulled up on my screen. Let me see if that takes me to the right spot.
It just takes me to a blue and black box that says Deagle Web Solutions, sales@deagle.com. I don't get anything else. Deagle.net or something like that.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem. The website's not working right now. Well, disregard that question. It's supposedly a website with military information when it's operating, but for me, it's not even working right now either. So interesting. Another question from the chat for you was, have you ever gotten to go underneath Denver International Airport?
Oh man, if you only knew half the story of Denver International. They well, short answer to your question, yes, because I worked in the baggage system and had to do a lot of tug driving around, and I had pretty much free reign to go anywhere I needed to. Yes, gosh, you could write a whole book just on the numerology about Denver International Airport in itself.
Sure.
People haven't flown in there. Now, you got to go back to Wellington Webb, Frederico Pena. They were all in charge, big Freemasons, and then you got the New World Airport Commission with that. Right. As well,
right?
As the guide stone. First time I walked in there, I went with my grandma just to take a tour, and they said, "What the hell is this?" And then the creepy murals I always had to pass through there, you know, just at the ticket counters and whatnot. But yeah, if you guys do a whole bunch of research going back to the first site that they had, it wasn't going to work. And I lived in Denver for a long time, so I got to look at the construction of the airport and everything. They had to start moving and relaying the whole foundation because of people being compartmentalized. Nobody knew what they were building. Nobody had the full blueprints of what they were building. They couldn't. One guy said he did see, and he was 86. That made local news. Mysterious death builder, you know, whatnot. They got the creepy New World Order horse there related to the Broncos, the Pale Horse, Super Bowl 50, and blah, 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 as you keep repeating. So I don't want to well, excuse the pun, I don't want to beat a horse to death, but, you know, so a lot of things. Oh, the sculptor of the horse at DIA as well. That apparently he was crushed or he was killed by the original, and then I can't remember the full story, but just type in Denver International Horse Sculptor and his death will come up. He was a Mexican American or something.
He was 65. He died in 2006.
Right, yeah. I had just started working at DIA when that happened. The big blizzard. We had a big blizzard in 2006 as well. I just moved back from California, started working for United. So.
I'm gonna have to do more research on that death. I'm sure there's a whole lot to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, if anybody wants to ask me questions about DIA or the or September 11th or whatever, I'd be more than happy. I'm on the Patreon as well. Zach, you have my email address as well. So, but the last thing I wanted to do, I'm still in Vietnam. My wife and I are coming back to the U.S. in October. I got to get her visa stuff taken care of because she's Filipina. That takes a long time, but I'm coming back. I want to hook up with you. Please send me a message where you're located so we can meet up and get this thing driving, because I've been with you. I think I remember it was the day after Villanova beat North Carolina in the finals back in
2016.
2016, yeah. The 77-74, the 4.7 seconds when they added time back on the clock. And I said, wait a minute, there's got to be someone out there talking about this sports rigging. And you were the first person to pop up. And then I stuck with you ever since, if you can remember that. Because the Prince death, I remember right after, and blah, blah, blah. So thanks to you, man.
Very welcome. And just in case you didn't hear what I'm planning, I'm gonna make an announcement. We're definitely gonna make this happen this spring. I'm thinking sometime in April, have a gathering in Washington D.C. trying to raise awareness about what's going on in the world from 9/11 to everything else. And I'm envisioning us getting in T-shirts so that we all look like we're on the same page together, and trying to spark something. So.
Yeah, I've heard those suggestions. The flyers do not work. People do not read anymore. They'll throw them away in the trash can, and they won't. It's just a big waste of time. T-shirts work because T-shirts are attractive. People don't have to read. And what I was going to tell you to do, stick with one number. It can be 77 or 47, because 77 is Washington, D.C., or 47 is government and blah, blah, blah. So, or you can do two T-shirts, because 77 ties to 9/11.
Well, you're reading my mind, man. I completely, I agree. Stick to one number. I was thinking about maybe having two groups of people as an experiment. Maybe some people stationed over by the Pentagon with the 77 T-shirt, and some other people out in front of Congress with the 47 T-shirt, something like that. So.
Just to rub them in their face, do black on white and white on black.
Right.
So you the checkerboard effect.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea too.
Just basically do on the front what is 47, and then on the other shirt what is 77, and on the back just do 47 equals president, authority. Just go down the list, and then your 77. What is seven? Oh, building 47, or 47 stories tall, building 7. But also 77. What is 77? And then 77 equals boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And people are like, wait a minute, what are these numbers? You know? Just get, and it opens the conversation up, because people aren't reading the flyer, and they're just gonna be tossed on the ground. So go with the T-shirt. They're cheap. I'm in Vietnam. I can probably get them for like $2 plain. plain white t-shirts here. So
Nice.
instead of going to government-run Walmart and supporting the Freemasons tearing up the country. So
Right on. All right, friend. I really appreciate your call, Ed. I hope you call us back soon. People are really enjoying your wisdom. And by the way, I gave you the reason Diggle wasn't coming up is because the website's actually spelled this way. Next time you call on, you can tell us about this. Then you can research it. D is in Delta,
okay.
E is in elephant, A is in Albert, G is in gorilla, E is in elephant, L is in Lucy. It's like that, Deagle.com. You'll see it. It's supposed to be a military intelligence website, but I'm not sure if it's authentic. It projects that the U.S. population is going to fall off a lot in the future.
Upcoming air shows and exhibitions. It looks like a government contractor website.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put too much. I wouldn't put too much into it. It looks like they work with Pratt and Whitney. They're probably working with Boeing as well, Halliburton. All of these people are need to be executed.
sure.
I'm sick of them. You know, last thing before I go, and this is the reason why I got so pissed off and everything. You know, I'm a vet and everything. I have neurological problems. I have pre-Parkinson's, and I was in the airborne, and then I got a concussion. I went to the VA, and they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, because you have pre-existing conditions. Nothing about your concussion in the Army. We're not giving you a single dime. Didn't even qualify for the GI or anything else, man." So I'm pissed. I got an axe to grind. So I want the truth out there. I want people to quit trolling you. I want them to quit second guessing you because it's hard work. I try to decode everything, and like I said, oh no, it's the Giants, Zach. It's not the Eagles. Well, both of them aligned because Eli Manning has like 39 days to go before his next birthday on January 29th or January 3rd or something, and New York equals 39. So it's tough. You know, both things line up, but you know how it goes. So just quit reading, just quit paying attention to the trolls. And this guy on Patreon, Robert Moretti, I don't know what his deal is, but he's just a complete loser. You're listening.
Yeah, I don't think Robert will ever call in. I think he's going to stick to the trolling. And he's probably somebody who trolls at my blog, too, with just a new account name. Because that's what I've learned about the trolls. I mean, if you ban them, they come back twice as hard. So it's like you provoke them, you might as well not. It's just best to ignore them. Don't feed the trolls.
Yeah, absolutely, because I have them. I've had them all my life as well. Okay, Zach, I'm going to run. It's already 5 a.m. here. People want to talk. Send me an email or just a Patreon message. I've messaged you a couple times, and we can keep tabs easier that way.
Okay.
Because I might not be able to call in all the time. All right.
Appreciate it, Fred.
That's the only thing.
Can I call you on this? Oh, actually, you didn't give me a number. I was going to say, can I call you on this number? But I can't see your number, so that's not going to work. All right, I'll find the message.
Yeah, just I have a Vietnamese message. If you're on WhatsApp, I'll add you to WhatsApp because that's how I can pretty much send voice messages or whatnot. It's hard being international.
Got it. All right, Ed. You have a great rest of your day.
God bless you, man.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
All right, great call there. We're over the hour mark. We try to keep the podcast around an hour each day. If anybody else has something pressing, I'll keep the phone line open here for another minute. If not, we can wrap it up. So good to have those military vets on our side. They got the information. Tommy, okay, great information. I've seen some people say they can get them even cheaper. But if it's quality and it's a T-shirt that'll last, I think $5 is a good price. Because that's the thing. Like, I'd rather have a $5 T-shirt that lasts rather than a $2 T-shirt that's got a hole in it by the second time you wash it. So. All right, all we can wrap it up here for today. Again, if you want to participate in Gematria School, everybody who's here for this can participate in that tomorrow. The last Tuesday of every week is pretty much open house, and I like to keep the open house lessons just more basic because there'll be people in there for the first time who have simple questions. And now that we have the Gematria hotline, tomorrow night's class, it's going to be open calls and just answering your calls all night. But don't call in with like 10 questions. If you have 1 or 2 questions, that's fine. But I just want a lot of people to be able to get in their voice and get their questions answered. And I'm hoping that people have some really good questions that'll help us all learn something together. And maybe I'll even think of something that I hadn't thought of before. So. Oh, we got somebody in the chat room that's got a rap song with Gematria in it. I'm interested. My friend in Houston, he's not on that radio network anymore. He used to work for Magic 102, but he got out of the industry. So he couldn't hook you up with getting it on the radio anymore, unfortunately. He'd have to get back in the business. Well, there's more in Gematria School on the last Tuesday because everybody who's at the $1 tier can participate in the class. Here, I'm going to give you a wrench, the man with the song, so that if you want, you can link your song. If it's like on SoundCloud or something, you can put it in here so people can listen to it. $7 and really nice. Yeah, to me, that's worth it. If you get a really nice shirt for $7, that's great. The shoe connection. I like that. Funny. Ole Demigard. Okay. I'll see if I can get in contact. Miss Mildred, do you mean sensitive to fabric? Like a skin reaction allergy type thing? The man with the song. You can copy, if you have your song linked on a website, you can post it here right now so other people can check it out. Because now that I just gave you that wrench, you can link it in the chat. But you can email it to me too. Okay. I know what you mean, Miss Mildred. I just got this I got this laundry detergent that said it was like gentle on your skin and free of dyes and perfumes. I always try to buy that kind. It was this new brand I hadn't seen before, and doing my grocery outlet shopping. So I thought, okay, well, that has all the stuff on the label that I look for, but it is just the worst. Every time oh my goodness, makes me feel like I got fleas when I pull my clothes out of the washer. So I know what you mean. All right, Truth Seekers, let's wrap it up here for today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. And right after tomorrow's podcast ends, I'm doing a radio show with a man who's a member of this Patreon page. He has a radio show in Vermont that actually goes out on the airwaves. I believe Derek's gone on his radio show before. And so that starts tomorrow at 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. And then when I get off that, then we'll be hopping into Gematria School. Everybody's welcome. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm trying to get that date set soon so that people have time to plan so that we can get a big gathering there. And we'll work on the t-shirts, and we'll definitely get some organic ones for the people with sensitive skin. All right. Welcome. Lots of love back to all of you. Have a great rest of your day. I'll probably be on YouTube later. You know me. So until next time, Truth Seeker.